The interesting part about this rum is the barrels it's aged in. This is aged dark rum by the Grove Distillery out of Margaret River, Western Australia. They use small 50-litre ex-bourbon barrels rather than the more standard 200-litre size. The smaller barrel size is said to age the rum faster, but at the trade-off of more evaporation. Are these trade-offs worth it for the final product? Let's find out. The Grove was founded in 1995 by Steve Hughes, originally as a winery. The distillery grounds are around 30 hectares, with around 10 of those hectares dedicated to vineyards. The rest of the grounds is split between the distillery, a cafe, a homestead, and several short-stay accommodations. In 2008, the Grove purchased a copper still and transitioned to being a distillery. They became the first craft distillery in the Margaret River region. This original copper still is on display in their restaurant today. From a photo I saw, it looks like it is an Arnold Holstein, and I believe they upgraded to a larger one of those sometime in the future. Sadly, Steve passed away, and Brendan Stoney purchased the Grove Distillery around June 2024. They may have brought on a new head distiller, as their website mentions Shannon, whereas this bottle mentions James. I wasn't able to find out how much rum the Grove Distillery produces in a year, given that the copper still that they have is somewhere around 350 to 450 litres. It's not going to be a humongous quantity. So let's dig into how they make this. Off the side of the bottle, they say it is a handcrafted, authentic Caribbean-style dark rum, made from Australian molasses and aged 24 months or longer in the Grove's own ex-whiskey American oak barrels. As for the ingredients, I couldn't find anything specific about the dark-aged rum. They did produce a one-off Christmas rum, which mentioned that it was made of molasses and dark sugar. I'm going to take a guess and say that this started similar. As for the water, they harvest rainwater on site and triple filter it for use in their products. I found a little bit of information about how they ferment this rum. They said that the yeast they use and the slightly longer fermentation time leads to a rum with an ester count in the lower levels and a slight funk. Again, I couldn't find anything specific to the dark-aged rum. For their Christmas rum, they said they fermented it for around 7 to 10 days. A 7 to 10 day fermentation is reasonably long, so I can speculate from there that this probably follows a similar path. So we'll move on to the distillation. Again, I could not find anything super specific to this rum to nail it down, but again, they have an Arnold Holstein copper hybrid pot column still that they make all their products out of. So would have gone through that to make this. So we can take a look at the aging of this product. This I was actually able to find a little bit more information on. I saw a couple of interviews with James and one of his team members. So this rum, they said, is aged on site in Margaret River. Margaret River is down near the bottom in the southwest area of Western Australia, and it is not a tropical environment down there. The environment can still get very hot. It is Australia, but in winter it can also get cold. It won't get down to snow and ice and freezing like Europe, but it can still get a little chilly, with the summers also becoming pretty brutal. This bottle says that the rum is aged in ex-whiskey barrels for at least 24 months. This makes sense, as in Australia, to sell a product as a rum, it has to be aged for at least 2 years. That's why on some of the other Australian rums that I've reviewed, you might see it not listed as a rum, but as a cane spirit. So in the interview that I saw, James was saying that this rum was aged in smaller 50-litre ex-whiskey barrels. The barrels actually age their bourbon-style whiskey that they make on site as well. With the rules around making a bourbon-style whiskey, I believe you can only use the barrel once, and then you can't use it for bourbon-style whiskey again, but it's still good for making rum. He said that the smaller 50-litre barrels age the rum about 3 to 4 times faster than the larger standard 200-litre barrels. He was saying that there is a trade-off there, as you get a lot more evaporation. You'll put in 50 litres, but by the time you go to take it out, you'll have about 40 litres left in the barrel. He also had some good information on the barrels in the interview. So the barrels are made in Queensland. they're made out of American oak that's shipped over here. The wood is seasoned for 2 years for 2 reasons. One, so that the wood will stay set and won't be warped or bent after you put it into the barrel. And the other one is so that the flavors in the wood can mellow out. The barrels are then charred and they get a heavy char. He said it was a number 4 char, which is, I believe, the heaviest char that you can get. I've seen it referred to as crocodile or alligator char, as the surface of the barrel that has become charred is really charcoaly and it's got a lot of cracks, crevices, kind of blisters. It resembles the skin of an alligator or a crocodile. By charring the inside of the barrel, you've basically lined it with a carbon filter. And this will filter the rum as it soaks into the barrel and out again as it expands and contracts through the seasons when things heat up and cool down. During the day it heats up, at night it cools down, and the liquid will be sucked into the wood and out through the carbon and filtered. So we can talk a little bit about the bottling. I couldn't find the strength that they have in the cask, but it is bottled here finally at 40%. This is pretty regular for Australia. I think in Australian law, for it to be a rum, it also has to be bottled at least 37.5%. It comes in a 700ml bottle. In Australia, most things used to be 750, but I believe now 700 is more popular. It's, I think, an influence from Europe and the bottles that they produce there. The bottle itself, I believe, is the same bottle that a legal tender uses for their rum. They are also a Western Australian craft distiller. So they must get a good deal on these things. I couldn't find any other details about if they add colouring, sugar, or filter this rum. From looking at it, I'm going to speculate that they don't add sugar or colour to this. And finally, they're all hand bottled and labelled on site. I saw an interview of them doing that. They have a little machine and where they roll the bottles by hand over the labels to end up like this. And then finally, how did I get this bottle? I bought it myself with my own money from their website. They come at about $90. Let's get to the fun part of the tasting. So I've poured out some earlier, let it sit around for a bit, and we'll take a quick look at the appearance. It's quite dark, and the other fun part is it's a lot more opaque than some of the other dark rums that I've got so far. I'm not sure. See if we can see the colour and the opaqueness there for you. And now we'll see what we can smell. I'm not very good at these smell tests, but I'm just getting the kind of the oak out of it. It does smell pleasant. It smells like something you'd want to drink. And we'll go for a quick taste. It's pretty smooth. It's very warming. I'm kind of just getting the oak flavour out of that. On the side here, they say toffee, raisins, dried fruit, cherry, and creme brulee. I'm not getting any of those. I'm just getting kind of the wood is what I'm getting out of this. Yeah, I'm just getting kind of the oak. Very smooth. It's nice. It doesn't smash you in the face. As for the finish at the end, it's lingering quite a while and it's kind of going from that warming burn and kind of rising up into more of a sharp tingling at the end. The texture is there. It's like quite thick, I think. It's good. It's lasting. It's got a very, very long finish. It's still hanging around. That's nice. So let's see if the production notes match what we're getting here. They talked about a longer fermentation and getting a bit of a funk there. And I'm not getting that. I've had some other rums that were more funky and they talk about like banana and fruit and things like that. And I'm just not getting that here. That could just be me. You can definitely taste the wood out of the barrel. That's the key flavour that I'm getting out of this. So how does this fit into the picture of Australian rums? Well, right now my journey's just begun, so I only have really 2 other craft dark rums that I can compare it with. I'll grab those. So I've got this premium Ord River rum, and I've got this Beanley double cask. So I feel that this sits somewhere in the middle of these two. So the Beanley is aged for about 5 years and is a blend of many rums that they've got. It's also a lot cheaper than these two. It's about $55 for this bottle, and it is 700ml, 40%. The Ord River rum is also in the same price range as the aged dark rum from the Grove. This one is $90 and it's been aged for about 1 year longer. It says it's 3 years. This one is at least 2. This also comes in a heavy char barrel. This one's pot distilled. This one is hybrid. I would have to go look at my notes. I can't remember what still they use for Beanley. So price-wise, it's setting up more with this guy. Flavor-wise, it's probably similar to the Hoochery. It's very, very heavy on the wood and the char flavor that I'm getting there. This one, I get a bit more pine. So as for the usage of them, well, this one, the Ord River, very, very strong flavor to me. I use it in cocktails and it basically drowns out everything, and it's just this. So I use that for just sipping, drinking. This one here on the side, they say, yeah, flawless in dark rum cocktails. So it works really well in cocktails. It's got something to say, but it's not so loud that it just drowns out every other flavor. And you can also just drink it on its own, straight. It's quite nice. And then we come down the other end of the Beanley. This one is a lot sweeter than these two, and it doesn't have as much of the big smoky kind of wood flavor, kind of a bit more pine. Also really like this one too. I'm also massively influenced by it is $55, whereas these two, they're $90 plus shipping, so they're about 100 something bucks to get a hold of. That's almost like 2 of these. And if you're just making cocktails, I'd lean towards this. If I just want to drink a sipping rum, I'd lean towards this one because it's just big flavor in your face. Does that mean that this one is bad? No, I like this one. It's just, it's not what I'd reach for first at this point in time in my rum journey. So who would this rum be for? Well, if you want a rum that you can drink on its own, but is also good in cocktails, and you don't mind spending 90 bucks, then it's for you. If not, I'd probably go for something cheaper. Or if you want a sipping rum, I would go for this. So for the final verdict, I like it. It's good. It's very drinkable, but it didn't jump out and do anything different that I haven't seen with some of these other ones. And for the price point, I think I want that. Is it bad? No. Is it an instant rebuy at this point? No. I'm still very early in my rum journey, and I want to try other rums before I circle back and try that again. If that rum review was fun or helpful, chuck us a like, a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Catch ya. Cheers.